All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to today's Explainer. We are diving deep into an incredible summary of Junot Díaz's absolute masterpiece, The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde. The insights we're exploring today actually come from a fantastic blog called Life Beyond the Covers. It's this great space dedicated to connecting deep literary analysis with actionable personal growth. Published back in late 2025, this specific deep dive totally nails the setup for one of modern literature's most gripping narratives. So let's unpack it. Right out of the gate, we realize this is no ordinary story. Diaz brilliantly weaves together Dominican identity, the terrifying real-world shadows of a dictatorship, and, believe it or not, the magic of pop culture. It's all to tell the story of Oscar de Leon, his family, and this incredibly dark shadow hanging over all of them. Okay, so everything in this universe is governed by this massive concept introduced right in the prologue. It's called fukú. Basically, it's a curse. Brought over during European colonization, our narrator, Junot, tells us this curse is completely inseparable from Oscar's life. It sets this powerful tone where a single person's tragedy is tied directly to centuries of oppression. So, who is Oscar de Leon? Growing up in New Jersey, he actually starts out as this charming, super imaginative kid obsessed with sci-fi and fantasy. But as he hits adolescence, well, things change. That charm turns into an awkward, painful loneliness. And his desperate, all-consuming search for love literally becomes the defining struggle of his entire life. The themes here hit really hard. You've got the crushing weight of isolation and this intense clash between traditional Dominican machismo and Oscar's gentle, nerdy nature. You know, his obsession with Tolkien and Marvel isn't just a hobby, it's a vital escape hatch. He's yearning for an epic romance of his own. Then the story violently shifts gears. We move to Oscar's sister, Lola. Her teenage years are defined by this fierce, intense rebellion, just constantly clashing with their mother, Belly. She actually runs away, gets dragged back, and is eventually sent to live with her grandmother in Santo Domingo. And that's where she starts uncovering the really heavy legacy of her family's past. Lola's journey is this profound look at mother-daughter conflict. But what's fascinating is how her act of physically running away serves as a huge metaphor. She isn't just running from home, she's desperately rejecting generational trauma, searching for independence from a history of pain. To really grasp that trauma, the narrative yanks us back in time to their mother, Belize's own youth in the Dominican Republic. Growing up, she falls for a man deeply connected to the brutal Trujillo regime, and it ends in horrific violence. Belize is nearly beaten to death, which forces her to flee to the U.S. just to survive. This part of the story completely exposes the sheer brutality of life under a dictatorship, especially the extreme vulnerability of women. Pay attention to the cane field here. It becomes this terrifying, recurring symbol of violence and trauma for the women in this family across multiple generations. Next, the narrative baton gets passed to Junior, Oscar's college roommate. He gives us this tragically close look at Oscar's deepening depression at Rutgers University. Junior basically watches Oscar's isolation spiral until it culminates in a suicide attempt. It's a dark chapter, and Junior realizes his own total inability to help his friend. He's just a witness. Through Junior, we're forced to confront the absolute limits of empathy and the strict, toxic confines of masculinity. And it's wild. Diaz actually uses historical footnotes throughout this section to constantly remind us that Oscar's personal pain is inextricably tied to the nation's harsh political history. Then, we take an even deeper historical plunge. We flash all the way back to Oscar's grandfather, Abelard, living directly under Trujillo's dictatorship. When Abelard bravely refuses to offer his daughter to the dictator, it leads to his absolute, total ruin and imprisonment. This is absolutely crucial, because this is where we truly see the origins of the curse. It's the terrifying collision of power, corruption, and resistance. Trujillo acts as this spectral, poisonous presence. His violence echoes way beyond his immediate victims, completely infecting the family's future. Snapping back to Oscar's timeline, we find him visiting Santo Domingo, and he makes a very dangerous, fateful choice. He falls for a prostitute who's already entangled with a corrupt, violent police captain. Despite everyone warning him, Oscar's lifelong yearning for love drives him blindly forward, which gets him brutally beaten by the police. In this profound moment, love is painted as a massive duality. It's both absolute salvation and total destruction.
Even Santo Domingo itself embodies this for Oscar. It's his homeland, sure, but it's also a site of extreme lethal danger. And all of this inevitably leads to a devastating climax. Oscar returns to Santo Domingo once more, absolutely determined to be with the woman he loves. He is captured and executed by the captain's men in a cane field. But here's the twist. Even in this immense tragedy, his death is framed as wondrous. Why? Because Oscar finally experiences true love, even if just for a fleeting moment. It's a moment of tragic, perfect symmetry. The cane field comes entirely full circle. It was once the site of generational violence, where his mother was nearly killed, and now it serves as the stage for Oscar's ultimate martyrdom and brief transcendence. But the story doesn't just end in the dark. In the aftermath, Junot discovers Oscar's writings. This epilogue leaves us with an incredibly profound glimmer of hope, that by passing these stories and reflections down to the next generation, the family might actually find healing and break the curse of fukú once and for all. Ultimately, the novel champions this beautiful idea. Writing and storytelling are our absolute greatest weapons against silence and erasure. It's all about legacy, resistance, and the enduring power of hope. Now, Life Beyond the Covers doesn't just stop at fiction. It explores a massive range of ideas to help you grow. For instance, they have deep dives into the science of competitive memory, literally exploring if memory champions are born geniuses or just masters of technique. The blog also tackles the psychology of human behavior. They look at how small, subtle shifts in how we find meaning can actually spark massive, positive life changes, way more effectively than just relying on grand, heroic efforts. And grounding all of this incredible content is the author, Prafulla Sharma. His dedication to lifelong learning covers everything from classic philosophy to modern tech. The whole goal is to inspire us to think critically and actually connect our knowledge with meaningful action. With years of archives to explore, there is just endless knowledge to uncover over there. But looking back at Oscar Wilde, it leaves us with one haunting question to think about. If storytelling really is our weapon against silence, what stories will you choose to share to break your own fukú? Keep learning, and we'll catch you next time.